guys, and welcome back to an episode of the Talk of the Ring show. As you can see, it is still just me, but that is a-okay. Sabrina's gonna be doing her own thing. She's gonna better herself, and she's just gonna get over what she's doing, and that's fine, because I'm gonna kill it. But, we're gonna have a special co-host once in a while, and let's just give him a welcome.
Hey guys, how y'all doing?
Dad.
How you doing? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Hello, and hello.
Obviously, I can do it myself, but my dad, he's a vibe. So
Vibe it up, y'all. Vibe it up.
Why not?
Let me stop.
But since you're the special guest, you can give our guest, give him a warm welcome.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have one of the best refs out there. I call him on certain times. He might get mad, but it's nothing but love. I might call him Santa because he be counting them out and he be getting. Let's welcome referee Johnny. Let's get it popping. Let's go.
Hey, what's up, guys? How we doing?
We got Johnny in the building. Johnny. Let's go.
What's going on? How we doing?
Doing good, boss. How about you?
Not much. This is the first wrestling podcast I've ever been on, so thanks for having me out. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having the time to come out and do it for us. It's definitely a blessing to have you on here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
No, definitely. We're going to hop right into it like we usually do. Who or what got you into wrestling?
I don't know. I always wanted to be a wrestler. I started watching wrestling when I was like 3 years old. WrestleMania 3, Hogan versus Andre the Giant. I mean, that for me was like the thing that got me wanting to do this my whole life. But like things happen, life happens. I'm kind of on the smaller side. I was kind of told my whole life, you can't do that. You're too small. You're not athletic enough. You're not smart enough. All kind of stuff like that. But it just kept eating at me. So my goal when I got out of high school was to move to Philly, go to the ECW House of Hardcore, because that was the only thing I knew about, like a school that would teach you how to get in anywhere. We're talking about like this is the late 90s. The internet isn't what it is today. You know what I'm saying? Like there were web pages for wrestling, but it was just reading a magazine on a screen. There was no reaching out and contacting people. So I graduated high school in 2001. ECW folded that April. So I had no plan B, so I was kind of lost for a long time. Just kept eating at me, and finally I made the decision to find a place that would train me, and that was in 2013.
Oh yeah,
that's what's up. 2013.
So at that point, did you know you wanted to be a ref, or it was up in the air? You just wanted to be involved.
Well, I kind of figured being a wrestler was like out of the cards because when I was 23, I flipped a Jeep 3 times end over end. I broke my left hip and my right femur. I was thrown 80 feet out of the driver's side window. I sustained massive head trauma. I was in a coma for a month and a half. I lost 92 pints of blood the first hour I was in the hospital. So I was in bad shape for like a long time. And when I first got in, I decided I wanted to be a manager because I always loved the greats like Bobby the Brain Heenan, Classy Freddie Blassie, the Grand Wizard, just to name a few. The Doctor style Slick. So I started managing for a few months. And then the school that I went to closed down like 3 or 4 months into my training. So there was like a gap, like a 3-month gap there where I thought it was over again. But one of the guys I started training with hit me up. It was like the middle of March, 2014. And he said, listen, bro, there's a place in Port Richmond. We need a ref. You could do it. Just come and show up, get a ref shirt. So I did. And apparently I did good enough that nobody really even realized that was my first ref gig. And that was for Ron Jones. He put me on for my first reffing assignment. And I've been off and running ever since.
No, yeah, that's awesome.
That's
So
what's
you
up.
you've been through it, and then you just
Well,
Just
I'm
kept
definitely
going.
happy you made it, though. I'm definitely happy you made it because after that, that's something tragic right there.
You telling me, man? It's been a real like I'm not gonna say trial by fire, but like I've been learning for like the last going on 10 years now, match by match, show by show. Like I just kept showing up places and hanging out and talking to people and getting matches here and there and just having to learn like one match at a time, what to do, what not to do, trying to get as much advice as I can, which can be hard sometimes. Not everybody wants to like, you know, uh, think like outside of what they did in the match. Not to say people won't give you advice, but sometimes in the moment it's hard to think like where was the ref and what was the ref doing when this was going on. So it's been a lot of like tape study of my own stuff, tracking promoters down to get video of what's going on and stuff like that.
no, yeah, definitely. So do you feel the crowd tends to like cheer you more, or boo you more?
That's a really good question, but it honestly depends on where I'm at and what's going on. At PPW, I feel like they definitely cheer me a lot more. Um, at CZW, where I've been working for a while now, they definitely boo me a lot more and give me a much harder time.
Oh hell no! They
Yeah,
better be doing my Santa, yo.
bro.
Yo.
It's because I don't have the beard. It's because I don't have the beard no more. I'm telling you, I don't have the full long Santa John now. Um, but like I've been working for Battleground Championship Wrestling since 2017. A couple years ago, they started running shows at the ECW Arena, and like I always get a good response there. I always get a lot of good feedback and good crowd support there, except for the last show. For some reason, I don't know, there was these dudes there that just had it out for me. But it changes show to show. But usually I get a pretty good response lately.
No, yeah, definitely.
My question to you is, this is from me. How much training did it take you to get into the field that you are in right now? Because, like you said, you go from different venues and you do it there. But how long did it take you? Like, how many training classes did you have to take in order to be approved to be a ref at any venue?
To be totally honest with you, I really never was trained to be a ref. Like the first match that I refed, my buddy just called me, introduced me to Ron Jones, who runs Pro Wrestling R now. Back then it was Loco Wrestling in Port Richmond that he was running. And he put me on sight unseen, I guess maybe just thinking I had to be better than whatever they had, or maybe they didn't have anybody that night. I don't know. They just put me out there, and Ron, Buddy Pat, even Ref Rich, who's kind of well known in the Jersey, Philly area. He lives in Virginia now. But they were like, "How many matches you ref?" And I'm like, "Oh, that was the first one." And they were just like, "No shit, holy crap, that was really good for your first match." Yo, I'm so sorry if I just cursed. My fault. I didn't know.
Go ahead, man. Let that shit the fuck out. Let's go.
Okay. Because my grandmother, she used to say, "Johnny, you got a real filth mouth. And it's not your oral hygiene, it's the words you pick that come out your mouth." So I try to, tone it down a little bit sometimes.
It's all right. It's all right. Now, another question for you, Johnny, is you as a referee, you've probably been through so many matches and stuff like that. What have you ever sustained an injury while being a referee? What is the first one?
I'm trying to think. As a referee. Not so I kind of like am always hobbling around after shows just because I got a bad hip. So like just the activity of being a ref, moving around the ring, does take its toll on me a little bit every show. But the biggest as a ref, I would say Dan Champion, This was in Sellersville, Pennsylvania in 2018, I want to say. Dan Champion was tag teaming with the Boar, the Moldavian Boar of War, and they came in and crashed a match that Havoc and somebody else was having. Oleg the Usurper. And Dan Champion grabbed me in the middle of the ring by the back of my head and threw me towards the corner. I didn't know what to do. My momentum just took me towards the middle turnbuckle. I ducked my head, and I ended up doing like almost a flare out of the ring, like Ric Flair, like up and out. And my left foot got caught under the top rope. I ended up like hanging on the outside of the ring, like against the turnbuckles and the ropes. It was crazy. I've got a video of it on my YouTube. But I was a little messed up after that. I couldn't really walk right for a few days.
Yeah.
But that was probably like the worst injury, I would think. Yeah. I mean, I've taken super kicks as a ref. That wasn't terrible. But that Beal into the corner from Dan Champion probably.
How are they gonna hit the ref? Sweet chin. What kind of stuff? All you do your job and call it not a line. If they don't like it, get a new hobby.
I'm telling you, man, some heels just want to hurt anybody, and you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. It happens.
It's funny because Dan, the champion, we're gonna have him actually on the podcast on Friday. So
are you really? That's funny.
Yep.
Make sure you tell him. Tell him I was talking trash.
Oh, I will. But
I'm gonna say, yo, Dan, you and I got some issues here, buddy. Why you even switching to my rap? What's going on with you, man?
I'm definitely tuning in for that.
No, yeah, but
all right. I have another question. I'm taking over. Goodbye. Excuse me. My
Take
other question
over.
is, what is the most craziest thing you have witnessed in a match?
Oh man. A lot of the deathmatch stuff that I've done. You know what? I'm so sorry. I had way worse injury. I didn't even think about it.
Right.
But this is the craziest thing that I've ever witnessed that's ever happened to me in a match. I was working a death match for On Point Wrestling, Matt Tremont versus Kit Osborne.
All right.
It was death match. They're swinging light tubes, smashing light tubes over each other. And the first pinfall, I went down to count 3. The video kind of went viral, but the tubes they were using, they weren't frosted glass. It was powder inside. So when they broke, all the powder blew out. And I didn't see the end of the tube on the mat. And the first slam on the mat, and my hand went right through the corner light tube down to my palm. I severed 3 tendons and a nerve. That put me out for like 3 months.
Oh, what kind of shit?
Yeah. I had to do physical rehab for like 6 months. I'm almost back, almost 100%. But yeah, that was pretty crazy. I pulled my hand up, and I was wearing gloves too, mechanics gloves. And when I pulled my hand up for the second count, like I didn't even feel it. Your adrenaline's going.
Yeah.
Blood was like trickling out of the bottom of the glove. And I was like, what the hell? And I pulled the glove off, and my hand was just wide open, filleted like a fish, squirting blood all over the place, like 3 feet of blood squirting out. And I just grabbed my hand and tried to close it and dove out of the ring like, I'm leaking. I gotta go. I'm sure I screamed like a 12-year-old boy before puberty, but
Her brother, he screamed like a little girl.
Yeah, it's cool. Hey, I'm not ashamed.
what happens happens. No, I'm just kidding.
That sounds graphical. I'm happy you're doing okay, but goddamn.
Yeah.
Goddamn.
Yeah. That was a rough one.
Do you prefer those hardcore matches, or you just like prefer let's just do a regular match?
I don't mind like hardcore matches. I'll ref anything. I'm not opposed to anything.
Yeah.
I don't really love doing deathmatch stuff because I just hate seeing dudes like get cut up and bleed and stuff. I definitely like doing like singles matches with like really good talent. Like the first match that I refed for PPW, I couldn't believe it was the first match they gave me was JT Dunn versus Casey Navarro. Incredible match. It was a great night. Like I thought I did a good job. All the guys at PPW said I did good. JT was very complimentary. So like I love like high level matches with like good talent, but everybody's pretty good, at most of the promotions I'm working now. So it doesn't matter to me. I'll ref anything.
That's crazy. You know what? Even though he hasn't been here yet, much love and shout out to Casey Navarro. He's a goat. He's out
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
He's small. He's a
Oh, he's awesome.
small little pink man,
But mighty.
but mighty.
Hey man, he works really hard. You got to give it up to him. He's a great talent.
Yeah, like the match I've seen him have his most iconic match that I've seen, and they did a showdown on this was Casey Navarro versus Davey Richards. That was crazy.
Yeah, I refed one of those too. One of that.
Yeah,
They had like the three matches in a row.
yes,
Yeah, they were great.
that was a crazy match, and you were there like what? And they had the Iron Man. I'm like what?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, those guys are nuts. They're so good.
Yeah, and then Dark SCG comes out. I want you in mine.
Yeah,
I'm graphical. I'm sorry. I'm really animated. She's not.
you're all good, man. I love it. Keep it up.
So, do you have any like? What is your favorite part about wrestling industry?
My favorite part is going to new places, going to different places, traveling, hanging out with guys, before and after the show, just like the camaraderie. Like it's like a big family. Like there's always people I'm excited to see when I get certain places. Always people like I know I want to try and hopefully ref their match. I was just talking to Smiley, my boy Smiley. Smiley. He's been over there. We were talking about trying to get each other on like different shows that we're working, like 5-Star Wrestling and Battleground and Hog Wrestling, House of Glory. So, it's stuff like that. It's like the good people that look out for you and like hoping to work with them again and again and again.
You've mentioned a lot of great places that we want to go to, especially House of Glory, Hogs. It's a bunch of them. New York, Florida, all of them.
We got lists.
We got
It's gonna
lists.
happen by the end of the year.
Oh,
Like
That's
we had Keiko on earlier telling us about the more like school or gym that just opened up down there, and he's like, if you tell yourself like if or when it's gonna happen, you have to say it's gonna happen.
right.
So that's all these places I want to go to. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, and writing it down is a huge part. If you write it down, it like burns it into your mind, so it makes it even like more indelible in you to do it.
Definitely do agree.
I wrote stuff down for years about reffing, about wrestling, about character stuff, all kind of stuff. Like I have between the pandemic and like 2022, I wrestled like 8-9 matches for a few different companies. I ended up like continually getting hurt, so kind of pulled back on it. But yeah, like writing stuff down and reviewing it constantly keeps it fresh in your mind and keeps you in pursuit of that. So it's definitely worth it.
What was your wrestler name?
Bug Sawyer.
I gotta look this up on YouTube. I did not know this.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a YouTube channel, website, bugsawyer.com. I'm thinking about, I got to get a little more muscle on my hip. I just got out of the gym like an hour ago. So I'm working on it. I'm trying to make a comeback. Hopefully, maybe this year or the beginning of next year. I just got to get my hip right again.
Don't try. Tell yourself that you can do it. Like she just mentioned, don't try, do it. Because you could definitely do it.
I am doing it. I just got done a brutal leg day trying to work it out.
Oh, yeah. Today, ladies and gentlemen, like you said, today was leg day.
Yep.
Tomorrow's arm day.
You got that right. We're in there 5 days a week, brother.
Exactly.
Well, I'm tired of being husky. I want to go back to being husky. So, yeah, I definitely so, yeah.
But you said your favorite part. What would you like other than the injuries? Is there anything else that is like difficult about the industry?
I don't think there's any like. I don't think it's as difficult as it used to be. Um, then again, like I really haven't like done super difficult training like a lot of guys have. I mean, uh, the hardest part is like really staying motivated because it's easy to like have a bad match or have a bad event and get like down and disillusioned. Like it happens to me, you know. Like I probably had like a couple weeks off since my last event that I did, and just not being around it and not going to training because the money's been a little tight this week. You know, it kind of puts you down, like thinking like, I don't know what's going on. Am I going to be able to keep doing this? But once you get back in it and keep doing it, you're there. So you just got to keep your mind fresh and keep your mind off the negative thoughts that creep in there. It happens to everybody. So, you know, you just got to keep pushing forward.
I definitely do agree with that. If you have a negative mindset, that means you're going to have a negative outlook on life, and that's also going to hold you back. Especially if you have negative people around you, that's not going to help you be better to better yourself and your surroundings and your environment. And
For
all
sure.
you're going to do, if you have no strive, it's just going to hold you back. I
You got
definitely
that
do
right.
agree on that. Oh, by the way, Miss Harley got her first tattoo.
Oh, nice. What is it? What does it say?
It's a little quote. It's not mirrored now, but it says, "I am enough."
Nice.
That's
That's
what
awesome.
Cohen was saying.
For sure. Always remember that.
Always
Exactly.
remember that you are enough. You are enough. If people can accept you as you are, they can keep it moving.
Right.
Definitely. So you have two kids of your own. If they came up to you and was like, "I want to do the podcast,"
The referee
if I want to be a referee
or wrestler, because he does
or
both.
in the industry as itself, would you be like all for it and allow them to, or be like, no?
Um, yeah, I'd be for it. I would just make sure that they get their education and have a job that'll support them while they're doing it. Because that was my big mistake in the beginning. Like, when I first got out of high school, like I had no idea what I wanted to do because I didn't plan for anything but wrestling. And when I thought it wasn't there or possible, I was just lost in the sauce. But even now, like you know, I live check to check outside of in my shoot job and stuff like that, and it's hard, but just got to keep going for it. So that's what I would say. Just like get your education, get a good job, pursue wrestling while you're doing it, but you got to be able to be stable and work because like it takes money to get free. Like it takes money to train, to get gear, to travel. Like none of that just comes to you. Um, and when you're fresh in the business, you know you could be in the business 6 months, a year, 2 years, whatever, and you're not going to get paid enough to support you driving and traveling and all that. So you got to make it happen, and you got to have money behind for that time.
That's
No,
absolutely right.
exactly. And that's what I was telling someone earlier. Like in the industry, like you just said, for buying your gear, you have to put your own money into that, but at the same time, you'll make that money back. So it's really like it's a lose-lose situation.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like it's an investment, and you got to capitalize on your investment.
Exactly.
exactly. Like so far, I've been putting my money into helping her out with the podcast, such as um, banners and stuff like that, pictures, everything. And I know it is going to cost me money. It's going to cost money because she also puts money in as well. But in the long run, it will pay off as long as you keep striving for it. Some people think it's going to be handed to them. No, that's not how it always works. Some people are lucky enough to actually have that thrown at them. Other
Right.
people, we have to work for it. You know, we got to show that, hey, we want to be here. We want to do this. This is what we plan. This is our career. We want to take it further. The only difference is you have to strive to keep pushing forward. It might cost you some bucks, but it's later on in life, it will pay off.
Yeah, for sure. As long as you keep grinding, like it'll pay off eventually. It may not, and it may not be like a way that you think it's going to pay off. You know, it may not be like $1 million WWE contract, but it might be like the best change in you, in your character or your life, and that's the payoff sometimes. So you got to look at it like a lot of different perspectives.
personal growth. Did you hear that? Education right there. Let's go. Education. Let's go. I'm a fool. I am so not sorry.
It's all good, bro.
So, do you have like a dream venue that you want to referee at before you retire?
If you would have asked me that like a year ago, I would have said the ECW arena, but I've been lucky enough to ref there a handful of times with Battleground. That was definitely like bucket list stuff for me. It's like the coolest thing ever to like ref that venue that I grew up going to ECW shit at. Um, the next one is an impossibility. I would say the Spectrum in Philadelphia, but they tore that down in 2014. I think something like that. I used to go to WWF house shows with my dad like 3 times a year when I was a kid. That would have been amazing. I'd really like to referee the Showboat in Atlantic City or any of the casinos in Atlantic City, the Hammerstein Ballroom in New York. Where else? Anywhere in Memphis, anywhere down south where they had incredible wrestling in the 70s and 80s. In the Carolinas, yeah. I refereed for Battleground. I refereed Jerry Lawler versus Bubba Ray Dudley last December. That was incredible. Being in the ring with
two legends. Yeah.
Two legends. Like, what more can you ask for?
That's where Jay Lawler, he's the king, but Bubba, let's go. Get to the table. Let's go.
You know it, bro.
No, yeah,
No.
definitely. So, like, on this topic of, like, you said that before you retire, do you think retiring is going to be an age thing or, like, a bad injury thing? Like, you've stated that you've had injuries.
I don't I don't look at it like that. I don't know that I'd ever officially retire. They always say never in wrestling. Like, it'd probably just be something I can't physically do anymore. Unless I had to stop for like my family or my kids or something like that to like really like buckle down and take care of them. But they're doing fine now. So yeah, I would just say it would just be like my bodies will give out. I don't know if it'll be like an actual injury. It'll just be quality of life, stuff like that.
Yeah, and even at that point, would you still want to be involved, whether it's like commentary or like a ringside manager or something like that?
For sure. I've been doing it. I've wanted to do it for so long, and I finally did it, and I've been doing it long enough that I don't think I can give it up like that. Like, I don't think I'd be the same. I would be a miserable shell of myself without wrestling. And that's what I was before I got into it. Like, I didn't start training to be a manager till I was 29, 30, so the years before that, I was just a miserable prick everywhere I went all the time because I just felt like the one thing that I wanted to do was never going to happen, but I eventually just had to make it happen. So yeah, without it, I'm a terrible person.
All right. So I have a question for you, boss. All right. So what is your style of wrestling? Is it brawl? Is it high flyer? Is it submission?
I would say kind of like a technical brawler. I mean, I wrestled in high school for 3 years. I was a pretty good wrestler, amateur wrestler. I won. I came in second place in the first tournament I ever wrestled, and I won the next 3 that I was in. I got first place. So I can handle myself on the mat in an amateur sense. And I can do some stuff in the ring too, but more of like, the character that I was as Bug Sawyer was more of like a wild brawler type.
No, definitely.
He wasn't playing. I'm gonna come at you sideways. What? Oh,
that's right. Scratch you, bite you, flip you over, pin you.
What you have to hit me for?
I've been saying it, especially like with the episode with Keikoa earlier. I'm like, I don't want to be. At first I'm thinking I want to be a wrestler, but now I'm like, it looks tough. I'd rather just be a ringside manager, which I was talking to Delilah about. She was giving me her advice. Like,
Sure.
it kind of has to come with being that. I mean, I got a loud mouth. People love me, and I already have my foot in the door. So
Yeah.
it works out for me. So when I
Yeah,
come,
you can do it.
I'll be involved.
You just got to take your personality and crank it up to 11. Find you some good gear and do it. Do it till the wheels fall off.
You ain't drop kicking my fat ass. Oh hell no. I love you. I'm gonna go this way.
That's something that like HC Luke told me. I was wrestling for a company in Harrisburg called RWF, and
Ooh,
HC Luke saw my gimmick, and he just came up to me, like, "Dude, you're my favorite gimmick on the indies right now. You don't got to be a bodybuilder. You don't got to be the most technical wrestler. You just got to look like a man, and that's exactly what you look like, a man's man. I love it. Do it till the wheels fall off." And unfortunately, they fell off for a little bit, but I'm getting them back on and ready to go soon.
No, yeah. We're just having an echo on our end. So when he's like, he's
no, I'm trying to fix the echo while we're talking, so I do apologize.
You try turning the gain down, not the volume, but the gain if you can.
I think it's a little bit fine. So you were just talking about gear. Obviously, like when you were a wrestler, how'd you come up with your gear?
Oh yeah.
My gear was pretty simple, because my character is kind of based off of Buzz Sawyer, so it was just simple red trunks, red boots with white fuzzy covers, and then I just wore like a leather vest for effect, with the patches of like all my favorite bands on it. But the look was really what it was. It was like the long, crazy skullet and the long ass beard that I had, and just looking like a wild man that might be fixing a motorcycle, might be killing and eating deer on the side of the road. Who knows?
Yeah.
So how did you come up with your wrestling name though?
Because when I started training, my first trainer told me that I looked like Buzz Sawyer.
All right.
And Buzz Sawyer was a big dude. That guy was like a sheen, and he was an animal. And I just figured, like, maybe I'll be like Buzz Sawyer's little nephew, Bug Sawyer, because I'm definitely not as big as him.
No,
That's what's up.
So is there any talent involved in the indies right now that you prefer? Like you're like that wrestler or that person has potential and like you like working with them over others?
I really like working with Rembrandt
Hey.
and Tim Mitchell. They're really good guys. They're really good talents. Nolan Pierce, I think is his name. He's really good.
He's
He's a
right
really
here.
young up and comer. Yeah. Young Glory.
Brando Lee. Let's go.
He's amazing. Boom Harden, he's awesome. CMD, they're my Camden boys. Him and Sean Pat. I gotta tell you, Sean Pat is my motherfucking homie. And I really hope PPW brings him back, because that dude is the truth. I'm telling you. I love working Deshaun. I refed him versus Matt Cordona in West Virginia like 2 years ago. And at that time, it was like the match of my life. It was incredible. Who else? There's so many good people. Post game, Vinny and Miami Mike. Chris Slade is great.
It's crazy.
Trying to think. There's so many good young talent that I have worked with and I want to work with. Like I said, I'll work with anybody. But that's what I can think off the top of my head.
All right. So, question: do you see yourself being a singles all the time, or do you want to see yourself in a tag team with somebody? And if so, who?
If
Oh
you were
wow.
a
If
wrestler.
you were back into wrestling, which he's trying to get back into it, it's just going to take some time, but he's definitely striving to it.
Um, I kind of always, I kind of saw myself like as like a singles wrestler. Um, but a tag, who would I tag with? Like it would have to be somebody that like the gimmicks fit together. Um, Trying to think.
With him being a brawler,
There's a kid that I wrestled on my like third match at WXW. Mosh Pit Mike, he would be a good one because we're kind of different. He's like a skinny kind of high flying brawler, and I'm like a big fat fucking
hey, the word is
technical brawler.
fluffy. The word is fluffy.
Got you, bro. I've been in the gym 5 days a week, man. I'm trying to get bigger.
I'm trying to get
Um,
smaller. Let's just fucking trade bodies. Shoot.
yeah, nah, bro, that's cool. I like mine.
You said
um,
fluffy now.
no, I didn't say that. Man, I'm trying to think who would I want to be a tag team with.
Crow. That would be a good one. He'll be like the bad guy while you'll be the good one.
Yeah. Crow would be good. That would be cool to be like. That's actually really good because Bug would fit in with him and Insane, Phil Insane. That would be a good three-way, good triple threat. For sure. Good
Hey,
call.
No, yeah. Crow. Big things. Like he's been helping me get my foot in the door. He's been helping me get on the show. So very thankful for him.
Yeah, cool. That's awesome.
And you were saying about the 5-star. You were being the ref there, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna be their head referee. Yeah,
And then there, like I think I've seen the post. Like you said, Deshaun, he's gonna be at that one. I'm pretty sure. Crow, Phil Insane. So I think that's another good show that's gonna be up and coming.
for
soon.
sure. Yeah,
And I'm gonna put my foot in that door as well.
yeah. I mean, we can talk to the promoter there. I know the promoter pretty well. He used to run another company a couple years ago called National Championship Wrestling that was really doing good. They were getting hot in West Virginia, in the area they were running. They just kind of got like dicked out of the venue they were using. But yeah, they're going to be running out of Williamsport, PA.
All
The
right.
first show is June 1st, I believe. The first show is going to have a huge fan fest. Eric Bischoff's going to be there. Gangrel, Buff Bagwell, Raven, a bunch of people. And then the show that night is going to be incredible. All them names you just said is going to be a great event.
You took me back to Buff Bagwell. He's like,
Oh, yeah. The American males.
yeah.
Bro.
Oh man. Took me back right there.
So you were saying, we just said we got 5-star, we got Battlegrounds, we got PPW, CZW. Are there any other shows that you are going to be working for in the next couple of weeks, or are those the main?
So this Saturday is going to be a big show for me. It's American Extreme Wrestling out of the historic Hamburg Fieldhouse.
We're gonna see you there.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, can't wait. That's going to be a big show. That's a historic building. That's a bucket list building. The WWF used to tape Saturday morning wrestling there. Super pumped. There's so much history there. There's going to be a lot of great talent. You're going to see
We got Goldie, we got
Bob Evans.
We got Izzy. She's gonna be in the battle royal kicking butt. Let's go.
Yeah, yo, Izzy was my girl. Let me tell you something. Bug Sawyer had a mad crush on Izzy McCoy for a while. Oh yeah, at RWF in Harrisburg. Ask her about it. But Tim Hughes is gonna be there. O'Shea Edwards, Ian Bush. Who else? The American Hammer, Matt Quay.
Oh, yeah.
Matt Quay is a guy that I think Bug Sawyer would have a good tag team with.
Matt Quay is definitely on his. I'm sorry, but Matt Quay looks like the guy from Stranger Things to me.
Oh yeah, Matt Quay is going to be a superstar one day.
Yeah.
He's got everything.
Oh, I'm like, dude, you scared me.
Episode.
Yeah.
But so those are some of the shows you'll be working for. So if people want to find you on social media, where can they find you at?
So on Twitter, it's at John A. Rankin 4. On Facebook, you can like my referee Johnny Rankin page, or just search Johnny Rankin on Facebook. Instagram, it's Ref Rankin 215. I think that's about it. I'm on LinkedIn, Johnny Rankin on LinkedIn. If you want to hit me up and expand your business portfolio, I guess.
And a question we didn't ask, because not a lot of refs have merch, but do you have merch?
Yeah. So I have merch. I've got a shirt that says Integrity on it. It's my favorite hardcore band. It's their logo, and then a really sweet black and white picture of me after a match. I don't have it online because I don't want to get a cease and desist order with the lead singer of Integrity, but I always have them at live shows. If anybody wants one, just ask me. I can get them for you. And you can go to bugsawyer.com for all the Bug Sawyer merch too.
Bugsawyer.com, not bad.
And it's Bug Sawyer everywhere: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you want to check out some old stuff I did.
You know what? There should be one merch for Christmas before it comes that you should have. You just tell in the audience. And you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
When they say one, ho 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 ho, right on the turn.
That's right. Try to get the beard back for Christmas.
Oh, you definitely will.
Hell yeah.
But that's all I have. So
That's all I have to say.
thank you so much for coming on. I hope you enjoy your night. Thank you all for watching. I will be back on Friday, like we said earlier, with Dan the Champion. So make sure you're coming in. We'll both be at AXW this coming weekend. So make sure you're coming out, supporting your locals. Give him a follow. Follow me on social media, on Instagram. And make sure you're subscribing so you won't miss an episode.
That's right. Please like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget those things. To me, 3 major things: like, share, and subscribe.
And you all enjoy your night. Bye.